Action movies have always used special effects to make them more exciting to audiences. From the 20th into the 21st century, these effects shifted from practical to mostly computer generated imagery, or CGI. The changes in technology over time influenced what movies could portray, as there became less and less limitations on directors. Here are four movies from 4 decades to show what I mean.
Please don't let me die.
The first movie is Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan and released in 1988. In this scene, John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, jumps off the roof of a skyscraper. According to the director, the only technology used in this scene was a device to create the explosion. The background isn't a green screen, but instead a painted backdrop. And when McClane is falling from the window, the hose is being pulled by stunt actors. In the 1980s, most effects were practical because you had no other choice. CGI had an unnatural look to it at that point, and was only capable of being done by advanced programmers and computer experts. Here is an early example of CGI in movies. This is Tron from 1982.
Watch it, watch it.
The second film I want to talk about is Terminator 2, directed by James Cameron in 1991. This movie has a mix of practical effects and CGI. The stunt scenes, like Die Hard, are done using practical effects. Shots like a truck ramming into cars or a helicopter flying under an overpass really happened. But one element of the movie, the futuristic robot, the T-1000, was cutting edge for the time. You can see the animation used to make it look like he really is made of liquid metal, and these shots took a long time to make. Effects that lasted only seconds in the movie could take up to 8 weeks to program and put into motion. Although these effects look primitive to us nowadays, at the time they really were groundbreaking and pioneered several effects such as motion capture. Next is Avatar. And 18 years after Terminator 2, this film was also directed by James Cameron. At this point, we can really see CGI advancing. 60% of the movie was created using computers, and it looks very realistic. The movie portrays a different world than our own, so it is really unique in its settings and characters. To help blur the line between fiction and reality, parts of the movie were filmed in a real jungle in Porirua, New Zealand. The movie was released in 3D and caused 3D movies to skyrocket in popularity. The advanced effects also meant the movie was more expensive to make, at $237 million, compared to $30 million for Die Hard and around $100 million for Terminator 2. But it is also the highest grossing film of all time, earning more than any movie has ever made. The last movie on our list is Avengers Endgame, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and released in 2019. This movie was the result of a lot of build-up from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it had to satisfy people's expectations. Looking at behind-the-scenes videos of this movie shows that most of it was filmed on green screens, and some characters are mostly CGI too. Avengers Endgame builds on what was achieved in Avatar. However, Marvel has been criticized for overly relying on CGI and rushing visual effects artists. Over time, we can also see how movies have changed, from a majority being realistic and grounded, to many science fiction and fantasy movies that would not have been possible to make 40 years ago. As technology in real life changed, so did technology in movies.